On the way up there, my daughter Andrea said, "Dad, how long is this going to take?" And I went, "Well, that depends on how much time people spend standing around talking." We left at 6:30. Okay, I want to jump right into my text from Greg Wilcox because I thought it was interesting. He said, "Good morning, Lee. Rates Tuesday. Mortgage rates hit their highest levels since summer of 2025 as markets feared the Iran conflict would drag on and keep oil prices elevated. Rates have improved as peace talks look to be back on track. This whole thing reminds me of the game many of us played as kids, aptly named Red Light, Green Light." Anybody remember this game? Now, did you guys play it where you closed your eyes or where you turned around? You turned around? Yeah, so you were, this was what? Red light? Oh, yeah. So when I'm looking at you, it's red light. When I turn around, it's green light. And then you all race to the front. Do you guys want to try it now? No was actually the right answer. Thank you. Yeah, no was the right answer. But the market is, let's go, stop, let's go, stop. So with mortgage rates being the highest they've been since summer 25, the markets are saying, stop, which creates some really interesting opportunities for us and this organization. So I wanted to share this with you. The housing market is not crashing, but it is slowing dramatically. Home prices nationally only rose about 1.7 year over year, and monthly appreciation is barely moving. Housing inventory is still low in many markets, but buyers are exhausted by high rates, insurance costs, taxes, inflation, and uncertainty. Builders are also getting cautious. Builder sentiment improved slightly this month, but pessimism still dominates nationally, and single-family housing starts dropped sharply in April. Developers are nervous, consumers are nervous, banks are nervous, and nervous people need guidance. That creates opportunity for brokers, lenders, educator, capital raisers, and operators who know how to structure deals. Guys, when you read stuff like this, you got to understand, everybody's reading this stuff. And what do you think when you hear this stuff? Are you excited about the market? Do you think, hey, we should go out and buy real estate? No. Normally you hear stuff like this and you go, well, I guess I'm going to wait to buy real estate because, the market's in doldrums and it's really terrible. You got to understand, days on markets are getting longer and longer and longer. Price drops are getting more and more intense and extreme because sellers are getting desperate to sell. And desperate sellers do what? Whatever the buyer asks them to do. Now is the time. Have you guys ever heard of the book from Robert Allen back in the 70s called No Money Down Real Estate? Does anybody remember that book? Great book if you haven't read it. It's 70 years old now, or however old that is. But the premise of this is negotiating great prices. The number one rule of getting a great deal in real estate is what? Number one rule of getting a good deal in real estate is what? Motivated seller. This market produces motivated sellers. Now is the time for our investors to be out there actively engaged in the market because they bring something to the marketplace that nobody else is bringing right now. Do you know what that is? Money, a buyer. Sellers need to sell. So we really need to apply a lot of emphasis on this on our phone calls, in our marketing. This is a buyer's market for smart people. Ooh, I like that. That's rude. This is a buyer's market for educated people. How's that? This is a buyer's market for people educated by the Lee Arnold system. It's getting better. We'll spitball that for a minute. Also, great job to Kogo Capital. We closed a $355,000 loan in 20 hours, you guys. I want to see that on email. I want to see that on Instagram. I want to see that on Facebook. I want to see that on TikTok. I want to see that everywhere. It's something along the lines of, when you need something done quickly, come to Kogo, right? When banks say no, call Kogo. When other lenders fail you, call us. Or better yet, other lenders will fail you. Just call us first and we'll get it done. Because 20 hours, great job, Andrew and team. That is really fantastic. Give it up for those guys. That's really impressive. Okay. Also, I wanted to mention something. We are doing a webinar, as Cherie was talking about. We're doing a webinar this week with Cam Dunlop. Now, Cam Dunlop has been a friend of mine for almost 20 years now. And in 20 years, we have never done a webinar with Cam where he allowed us to collect what's called the registered non-attendee, non-buyer leads. Never allowed us to do that. And so when we were in Tampa a few weeks ago, I made a comment in front of our peer group about Cam, and I called him a nasty name. I won't share it because it's not appropriate for prime time, but I called him a nasty name. And I said, you are a Leeds blank. I didn't curse, just not appropriate. He got very offended. And he said, what do you mean? I said, Cam, you know exactly what I mean. Everybody else in this room, when we do webinars, we share leads, we swap leads. You? No, never. And he goes, well, I'll show you. And boy, is he. So this week, we are getting all of the registered attendee non-buyer leads from Cam's list, which we've never gotten. And guys, this will be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of registered attendee non-buyer leads. So I want us to prove to Cam that he made the right decision. So I want those leads worked very aggressively, sell as many of you can, and it will fill up. We should be able to fill up the remaining, what do we need? 78 seats, Jen, to be at 100 for broker? Okay, so I want to see 78 broker sales this week for next week's certification. And I believe the Cam webinar, the Cam Dunlap webinar will get us there. So can we all make that happen, please? 78 brokers by the end of the week? Yeah, like I said, never done it before. Also be aware that between our capital syndicate and Cam Dunlap's, what is the name of his product? Something no banking. But when Awesomely was at its prime, and you guys all love the capital syndicate leads, right? When Awesomely was at its prime, it was our product and Cam's product that were the two highest producing products. And so thousands and thousands of his buyers have never seen our offer, never heard about us. So this should be like really an incredible week for brokers. So I'm very excited. But let's now show Cam what sharing those leads is going to do for him and his organization, because they still get a portion of those sales when we make them on the floor. So let's make that happen. All right. I thought this was a funny, interesting news story. Costco's rotisserie chickens are being sued. Did anybody hear this? They're suing Costco's rotisserie chicken. Yes, America's finally reached peak prosperity problems. Costco is facing lawsuits over its famous $4.99 rotisserie chickens because of ingredient labeling disputes. Think about this. The company loses millions selling chickens at $4.99, and people are still upset. You lied to me, Costco. Anybody seen that Seinfeld episode where Kramer was telling everybody that the yogurt was fat-free? Anybody see this one? And everybody starts gaining weight, and so they sue the yogurt company. Same thing. No one walks into Costco for a chicken and leaves with just a chicken. Has anybody gone to a Costco just to get the chicken? I'm curious. I've gone just to get the hot dog. Anybody gone in? You've gone to just get the chicken? Did you leave with just the chicken? That's impressive. All right. I continue. Stock market and Wall Street. Wall Street continues acting like it has multiple personalities. One day, everything is amazing. The next day, we're all going to die. Markets are swinging based almost entirely on inflation data, Federal Reserve speculation, oil prices, and headlines from Iran. Does anybody else have exposure to the market outside of your company 401k? Does anybody else have money in the market? Jacqueline does. Okay. Justin does. Chase says, how did last week go for you? Because 2 weeks ago, I woke up like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go get a job. My stock portfolio is performing poorly. And then, that was last week. Then the week before that, it was like, holy cow, I could retire. This is going fantastic. And here's what I've been thinking about this whole time. On the mortgage notes that we hold, no volatility. When I buy a mortgage note that's paying me 10, I get 10 every month. There's no volatility. There's no up and down. I don't have to check what's happening. I'm not really concerned with what's going on in the war in Iran or the price of fuel, because I'm locked in at 10 or 9 or 8 or whatever the IR team sells the thing at. And I don't believe that I'm alone in this, you guys. I am getting roller coaster fatigue from the market swings.
If you want to learn more, just click the link below.